Hello, beautiful, beautiful, beautiful people. Today I bring you a teaching that I'm super excited about. Today I'm ministering to our nervous system, and I also want to introduce you to my best new friend, ANS, A-N-S. ANS is short for the autonomic nervous system, and ANS is our watchdog, and I really want us to learn all about ANS because once we befriend our nervous system, our whole life will change. We will make decisions from a completely different place. We will feel more centered and grounded. We will feel more soulful. So before I tell you about the nervous system, I want to share with you my personal story, the personal story of my own nervous system. Throughout my life, the inside of me have felt very sunny, at least 90% of the time. The song, I'm walking on sunshine, oh, I'm walking on sunshine, whoa. And doesn't it feel good? It feels good. Most of my life felt like that inside of me. Although there's another song I love, it's called It's Amazing. This song is competing for I'm Walking on Sunshine when it comes to my normal state of being. This one goes like something like, I feel sweet. Do you feel sweet? It's amazing. I have no skin and I feel everything. And it's amazing. The song reminds me of my state of being when I'm well. I feel like the world is beautiful, it's amazing, and the earth is amazing, and the trees are amazing, and life is amazing, and human beings are amazing, and our nervous system is amazing. The song says something like, I love life. I hope you do too, because I love everything. It's all amazing. That's where I lived for most of my life. 90% of my life I spent in that place inside of me. And that's why, beloveds, I was so shocked and humbled, deeply, deeply humbled to have found myself over the last 7 to 8 months in a very, very different state of being. Without my will, I felt I was held captive in a dark, scary, hopeless, and shameful place. Those of you who have experienced depression understand that this isn't something psychological. This is very much physical, and it's something automatic that leaves you without willpower or with very little willpower. But before I fell into that dark, scary place, I spent a few years, my years of seminary and internships and a hostile working environment that threw me into this other state, this less scary but equally dangerous place. That was a place of high stress and anxiety that also took me away from my state of well-being, and which eventually made me crash and threw me into the state of immobilization, which is depression. I share all of these, sweet beloveds, because I think that we as humanity needs to understand our nervous system as well as the other systems that cause violence to our nervous systems. And so I am preaching the gospel of befriending our nervous system, the gospel of befriending our nervous system. It all comes down to feeling safe in our bodies. The autonomic nervous system is all about safety, and it's like an antenna. It's like an antenna that is always scanning for clues of either safety or danger. This is the Polybagel Ladder, which I find very useful to help me understand the autonomic nervous system. I also like to think of it with the colors of the traffic light to separate the different states. The first state of being, our natural, healthy, vital state, is this state of where we are safe and social, where we come to rest and digest. We are up here on green when we feel safe. We go living our lives feeling good. Our lives might not be perfect, but we are content. Up here, all is normal. Our nervous system is regulated. It's calm and safe. But if something happens suddenly and we don't feel safe anymore, we move down here to mobilization or fight or flight. Like yellow in the traffic light, something shifts and we are under alert. Let's say you're driving to work, listening to your favorite podcast, and it's good, it's so good, it's amazing. And all of a sudden you hear sirens and you're thrown down to mobilization. You don't tell your body to do this, but your body starts releasing the hormones of the stress hormone, cortisol and adrenaline and all this good stuff, right? That makes you want to take action. This is what mobilization is all about. And again, is a physiological response. It's not something you thought of. The autonomic nervous system is called that because it's automatic. You have no control or little control over it again. But then let's say that when you're driving, the sirens pass and you go back to your podcast and your nervous system goes back up here to feeling regulated and you're back on top of the ladder. All is good. A healthy nervous system should operate like this. We go through our lives feeling safe. If a danger comes, our nervous system automatically brings us to mobilization to get us to take action. And hopefully soon enough, we go back to rest and digest. We go back to the top of the ladder. Throughout our days, it's normal to have these movements on the ladder. We're up here and then we get an email from our boss telling us that they need to meet with us right away and that is important. And we move down here to mobilization because we're worried about losing our job. We come down to mobilization every time there is a deadline, when there's an assignment due, when an important interview or presentation is coming up, when we are worried about paying our rent, and so on and so forth, when we feel like we're going to be thrown out of our place of safety. The body does this, ants does this, our watchdog is smart because we need all the juices of mobilization in our system to get us to do what needs to be done. It works. So it's not a bad place to be, but it's just a temporary state. It's a survival state. And we pay a really high price when we stay here for too long. It's simply not sustainable for our nervous system or for our body to stay in that state of survival for too long. So the problem then is with our modern society, with our modern systems that keep us here for years and decades. In fact, some of us begin to live in these two places, which is kind of scary, that mobilization and then this one I'm about to tell you about, which is immobilization. So if we stay down here for too long in mobilization, we are then thrown down to this red zone, this freeze or shutdown zone, that our body gets immobilized in some ways. You are brought down here too when something traumatic happens in your life, right? It could be a sudden trauma that brings you completely down here, or it could be something after a prolonged a period of time of a lot of stress and anxiety that also throws you down here. So up here on top of the ladder, we say, I am myself there. Then down in the middle, you go like, I can. You have all this energy, so you feel I can fight this, I can do this really hard thing, or I can fly, I can live. Because of course your body is pumping all this energy and you feel the confidence to do something. I can. But down here, it's more like I can't. I just can't. I can't go to work. I can't write that assignment. I can't have that argument with you right now. I can't. I simply can't. In Cuba, there is a saying that goes like, no puedo con mi alma. No puedo con mi alma, which is something along the lines of, I can't hold my own soul. I just can't. So that's very much what this immobilization zone feels like. Down here, we feel overwhelmed by very, very simple things The autonomic nervous system shut us down in some ways. It uses self-preservation through the conservation of our energy. The heart rate falls, blood pressure falls, movement feels hard, our metabolism slows down. We don't even get enough oxygenated blood into our brain. So we get to experience these feelings like disassociation, that we lose touch with who we are. Our lives, even if they're perfect, they look bleak. All of a sudden, we need a different part of ourselves, of a different part of our complex self, of our complex mental structure, and we don't even recognize our true selves anymore. This is where soul loss happens. Here we go and retreat, and we don't want to be social. It takes so much energy to be social. Depression also brings a slow down response to everything. It's almost like a paralysis, and it's very humbling. Again, deeply, deeply humbling for someone like me who had so much energy at some point that felt like I could light up a football stadium with all that energy. And then all of a sudden you feel that you have absolutely no energy. What is worse is that you feel hopeless. You feel deeply ashamed. The food that used to taste amazing, the things that used to be amazing, all of a sudden don't taste the same, don't feel the same. And again, it's deeply humbling. But as Deb Dana, in this book that I'm reading, I have been reading for about a year. In this book, she tells us that it's good to remember that a patient once told her that it's good to remember that even though we are down here, we are still on the ladder. And while our physiology may be against us at this moment, we can still climb up the ladder. So this is why I'm preaching the gospel of befriending our nervous system, because it feels impossible when we are down in these states. It feels like David and Goliath. But when we understand our neurobiological states, we are empowered to change them. We can learn to regulate our nervous system, and we can help one another to co-regulate as well. From this understanding, we can also see how being marginalized by society put us into these states, right? Because we don't feel safe entering certain places or walking alone at night. For me, it's been almost 50 years that there is this panic, this fear of walking alone at night. So all of these experiences keep us in these middle stages of stress and anxiety, all these social injustices that keep us in this place of stress and anxiety. Is so important to understand how they work. And also think about the microaggressions that people of color experience constantly. They add up. All of those microaggressions add up. And this is how trauma happens. All these small traumas accumulate, and eventually we find ourselves with PTSD, which brings us down to this place of immobilization, depression, shutdown. And again, it's physical. All the brain power and the willpower will not get you out of those places. You need to engage the body. You need to make your body and your nervous system feel safe again. Dearest, beautiful beloved, I am speaking of all of this because I think it is so important for us to understand how our patriarchal, colonialist, capitalist systems that we are living under are not only soul-sucking, but they're causing tremendous damage to our nervous system. I never understood that until the last several months. The damage that this system causes to our nervous system, to our vitality, to our aliveness, to our work, to our relationships, is devastating, is brutal, is inhumane. And so I have decided to teach a longer class on this, which is going to take me more than a week to create. So I am stopping the weekly episodes for now in order for me to focus on this and for me to bring you a longer teaching that is going to give us a deeper understanding of all of this, and is going to help us. I'm going to bring you practices for how to regulate your nervous system alone, or with others, and how to stay in that vital state, in that state of true self, soulful self. Because again, up here on the top of the ladder, that's when we are our true self, and down here is when soul loss happen, this disassociation from who we truly are. But for now, I want to leave you with a practice that I find very useful, and I invite you to do it daily if you can, as much as you can. So let's draw a circle, and let's call this circle inside of here. This is your vital state. This is where your true self and your soul lives. What does that feel like, right? This is rest and digest and your social. Can you feel in your body how that feels when you are feeling good? Just feel it. And then write down inside that circle the words and the feelings and the colors and the songs that you associate with that state, your vital state, okay? And so write it down. And then we're going to add arrows coming into the circle and arrows going outside the circle, which means the arrows coming in are the things and the practices and the people that brings us to our vital state, to our sunny state. And then the arrows are those practices and those systems and those people that take us out of our vital state. And so I hope that this exercise helps you until I bring you some other teachings on how to, deeper teachings about the nervous system, how to regulate, how to stay in that zone. And so I'm super excited about this class that I'll be teaching and that I'll be giving to you over the next few weeks. So I love you. I deeply care about you. Stay vital. This world is right now is making it harder and harder and harder for us to inhabit this our original state. I have heard them said our organic state, our organic self. I love that, versus the genetically modified self, right? That society and the social constructs brings us to these places where we lose touch of who we are. We forget to honor our nervous system. We forget to befriend and be kind to our nervous system. So I'm excited about this. I thank you. I love you, and more soon, more, very soon.